Hello everyone, today I want to use an ancient poem to talk about the stress of leaving a legacy. Hello everyone, we're all so stressed out thinking that we've got to get more money, build more things, acquire more stuff. And ultimately, I guess it comes down to we believe that at some stage we'll be judged on what we end up with. You know, we know a lot of famous people are known for their net worth. A lot of gravestones are very large, and a lot of people see their legacy into what they've bought and they've owned in their lives. And to illustrate this, we're going to go back to a poem that, once again, pre-capitalism. We're definitely looking at some older, ancient structures here that aren't trying to sell us anything but give us true knowledge. And I'll read that poem to you right now. The poem's known as Ozymandias. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell us its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty and despair. Nothing beside remains, round the decay of the colossal wreck. Boundless and bare, the lone level stretches far away." This incredible deep poem was written by a great poet who went to Egypt and actually saw this statue. You can still see it now, and it's a colossus that has now been destroyed. And what Ozymandias talks about is that the classic situation where everything we build, everything we own goes back in the box. It all ends. We can't take it with us. And these concepts of grandeur, that I'm so much better because I've achieved these things, or I need to stress to achieve these things because it'll make me better, they all fade away in dust. You've seen my video on Monopoly, that it all goes back into the box. It's such an important thing to understand, not so you don't stop doing, because life is about doing and enacting, and if things come into your life, that's great, but not stressing because you think it will give you something that it doesn't. So how can we understand the stress of legacy even better? Well, number one, the non-completion of the story in your head is killing you. You have a story in your head. I know you do, because I have one too. And that story is fictional. It is based on some things our parents wanted us to be, some things we'd like to be, some TV shows we've seen, and it's just a fictional story without much depth for it. If you really started delving into it, people just sort of don't have a lot of answers to why they believe their life should be a certain way. And it's never quite complete. You're never quite there. It always adds on or tacks on or says, well, this new house by the beach doesn't feel as good as it should, so maybe it's about a bigger house. And ultimately, the story in your head, you need to understand it will never be completed, and stop trying to complete it. Number two, where I lay, so shall you. An incredible tombstone, I believe in Westminster Abbey, is of a king. And to paraphrase his epitaph on his gravestone, it says, "Where I lay, so shall you. Where you stood, I did stand." And it's a bit confronting, because you're looking at a grave and you realise what he's saying, that this was a king, so he definitely would have been in Westminster Abbey before this. And he would have stood looking at someone else's grave thinking, poor dude. But it helps you really reconnect with the fact that he is a king, but he's in a box. And he'd rather stand where you are right now than to lay where he is right now. Be appreciative for the life you have. Three, it all goes back in the box. When you play Monopoly and you stress out on getting Park Lane, and you finally get Park Lane, and you've probably pissed off a few of your friends to do it, and you're laughing and you're joking and you're like, I'm the man. At the end of the day, when the box closes, Park Lane goes back into the box. And remember that, it's so important that these concepts don't go with us. The idea that this legacy is built through things is really functionally fraudulent. 4, trust, faith, and the Tao. So just your legacy will be your legacy, and it is not that it's already written, but it will be exactly how it has to be, and you must trust in the way. You can imagine Mother Teresa being a poor Albanian nun who went to India. She would have assumed her legacy would have been to be forgotten immediately. She never sought the limelight, but because of her faith and her trust and her good works, everyone knows who Mother Teresa is. So understanding that there is a path for you, it might not necessarily be the path of the story in your head, but it will be your legacy, and it will be beautiful, and it could not be any other way. 5, You can't review a book from a single chapter. So often people read from their current chapter, or even worse, they read from previous chapters. If I asked someone to read the latest chapter of a book to me that I hadn't read yet, and they started reading the first chapter, I'd get upset because I want to know about what's currently happened. But so many people read from the past chapters of their life, their failures, and then so many people also put too much emphasis on the current chapter, not realizing the next chapter will provide a lot more thrills and spills. We have seasons in our lives and chapters in our lives, and they're all very different. You go through childhood's very different to adolescence, and adolescence is different to adulthood, and so is old age. Things will change. When you read from your current chapter of your life, know that it is simply a single chapter. Number 6, your legacy is love. The karma, the binds, the action, the doing, the energy, the love that you leave behind is all you leave. And that makes its way through, not only through the multiple incarnations we take and the multiple conscious levels that we reach, but it also affects those around you and affects their karma and their consciousness and their love and their life. That's what we really should focus on as our legacy, is how much love do we leave. No one sits on their deathbed going, I just wish I would have bought a few more boats, but they almost inevitably always say they wish they would have loved more. And finally, 7, make a living, but not a life. The end of a song I heard a couple of days ago ended with, everybody dies, but not everybody lives, and it is true. You're so busy making a living, are you making a life? This living that you think that you must be done, where will you go? Think about the end and understand that sometimes we continue making a living, and before it's too late, we get sick or we get old and we look back and realize we never had a life. Something to think about. Don't stress over your legacy. Your legacy will come and it will be really, really beautiful, and it will be only the way you could have given it to the universe. It's something to think about, and I can't wait to see you till tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.